Another Thursday, another update within Call of Duty, and admittedly this week is kind of a standard update. Nothing really too monumental happened, though yesterday we did actually get some stuff we'll cover here on the video that did change a little bit of Warzone. But today we're gonna run down everything that changed, what you need to know so that you're in the loop, but also I kind of want to touch on something Battlefield related, as strange as that may seem. It's a little bit of a curveball and I have absolutely no idea how it's going to fit into the content flow of things here today, but EA Play happened today and offered an interesting look into that project, but we're going to talk all of that. So do me a favor, drop a like on the video if you enjoy, it helps out the channel here. If you are new to the channel as well and want to stay today with all things Call of Duty, whether it be Warzone, Modern Warfare, Cold War, and hell, maybe even Battlefield 2042, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. And finally, my friends over at G Fuel bumped up code Espresso to 30% off your entire order. So if you guys want to get a restock, try it out for the first time, whatever the case may be, now is as best a time as any. So link in the description below. That said, let's jump into it. So talking about today's update. Now, as with recent updates that follow larger scale ones, not a whole ton is new on offer here at this. With last week bringing the Season 4 Reloaded update, a new Zombies map, Warzone updates, a new map for MP and Cold War, and other things alike, there's not a whole ton as of this week because it's that sort of off week per se when it comes to these updates. As we've talked about, only slightly borrowing Star Wars' rule of two in naming, Call of Duty's marketing and releases follow that sort of rule of two in terms of time frame, with weeks of two, where usually nothing happens until 2 weeks after something else happened. It gives time for promotion and build up leading up to that point of something releasing, and then at least a week here afterwards so that players can have the main focal point on experiencing whatever that is. So at minimum, I'm not expecting to see something happen until next week as of the 29th, to which maybe we actually get some stuff of interest here, but we'll come back to that shortly. As of today's update, we saw a few introductions in terms of modes on the game side of things. On Warzone side, we ended up having Payload introduced. That was surprisingly not introduced as of last week with the mid-season update, though it seemed all things marketing-wise seemed that it was going to be coming as of that mid-season update. It was not, but now is there in Warzone. That's that sort of giant tug-of-war mode that allows players to play the objective for the first time within Warzone, inspired by Call of Duty World War II's War Mode. Definitely not a nod to anything, no chance, not at all, but that was introduced here for this week of play. And on a weird UI end, standard BR is actually moved to the bottom of the listing, which may cause some confusion if you're like me and just kind of button mash your way into searching for a match. But anyways, we also saw Rebirth Resurgence trios added in, but also removing quads in the process, which is rather unfortunate in my opinion, and then Plunder quads was added up on deck. Also changed in Warzone, though not today, it was actually something that went out as of yesterday. There were a few fixes to some bugs and problems going on within Warzone. The biggest one was that of a fix to the C58 Royal and Cross 4x optic, in which before this fix went out yesterday, there actually was a ton of recoil mitigation that this thing offered, and so much to the point where it basically didn't have recoil if you had that optic equipped. That's been fixed out now and has the same exact recoil pattern as the 3x optic on the C58. There were also bug fixes including a permanent dead silence bug, a sentry turret bug, and a few blueprint bugs as well. But sticking with the Modern Warfare application, we also saw Modern Warfare's playlist this week, including Boots on the Ground War, Blueprint Gunfight, Shipment 24/7, Gunfight 3v3 Snipers Only, Shoothouse 24/7, and Search and Destroy Double Down, which is that 12v12 format of search. Honestly, a really fun mode if you ask me. On the Cold War side of things, we didn't get a whole ton introduced outside of playlists, but for playlists this week, we have in the featured category Nukejack 24/7. Hopefully they fixed out the balancing in terms of the Nuketown and the hijacked map rotation. Players have reported only getting nukejacked for as long as I can remember this past week. We ended up seeing Throwback Mosh Pit, Paintball Mosh Pit, which is the mosh pit of TDM, Domination, and Kill Confirmed, as well as Hardpoint, but the only difference here is that you end up having paintball bullets instead. So taking that MP5 tracer round that was available in, I think, the Big Joke 3 bundle pack or whatever it was, and applying it to all weapons. So kind of a cool effect here at that one. We also see Cranked Mosh Pit, Face Off 6v6, 12v12 Mosh Pit. Really happy to see that one make a return here, and it's back in the hardcore format as well, which it was not in the last time we saw it in the rotation. I think 2 weeks ago they took it out of the hardcore rotation, but it was still there in core. And then Party Games Mosh Pit, as well as Fire Team. The interesting part though is that if you do not own Cold War, you do have a free-to-play week here available starting as of today, going until next week, in which you can access Nukejack 24/7, Paintball Mosh Pit, Throwback Mosh Pit, Party Games Mosh Pit, TDM, and a few other modes in MP. as well as the full zombies round-based mode offering, so your Die Maschine, Fire-based Z, and Mauer der Toten. So not a bad test it out type of gig if you don't have the game and want to try it out for a little bit, but that's about it in terms of the content additions or the playlist additions, rotations, whatever you want to call it here at this one. But when we talk about other items, we are still waiting to see what happens with, as Raven stated, what is likely the CX-9 here, and of course we have Weaver as an operator coming at some point during the season as well. If I were to take a guess here on when that CX-9 could be coming, I would imagine, again, coming back to that rule of 2 with marketing, I'd imagine that it's sometime within the next week here, possibly next week's update of the 29th. But none of that is, of course, confirmed, though it does seem by the Warzone patch notes that we will see this before the introduction of Season 5, which is likely that next title update when we end up seeing new perks introduced. So maybe we see it next week, maybe it's held off until Season 5, and then, of course, those perks introduced in a Warzone exclusive capacity aren't actually part of the Season 5 update. Maybe that's something we see here with that, but who knows at this point. But that's the Call of Duty side of things here, and as strange as it seems, coming back to it, I do want to touch briefly on some information regarding Battlefield 2042 today, because as of today, while there wasn't a whole ton going on in the COD world, EA Play ended up happening, to which Battlefield, among other EA games, were shown off, but the big focal point here for Battlefield 2042 was that of the new Portal. This is a sort of sandbox mode here where you can create your own custom servers and your own custom experiences with all Battlefield 2042 content, plus maps, weapons, vehicles, gadgets, and a whole lot more from classics like Battlefield 1942, Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, and it just looks insane. It's a live service offering more and more, and dude, this is like what COD fans have been asking for ages in some regard. This is a custom server, either private or public, that's up to you, something that COD hasn't had the ability to do in ages. I think the last time we had custom servers, at least to my recollection, was World at War on PC, but the thing that captivates me is that it's so much customization, it's so much content from across various games in the Battlefield franchise, and it's stock, it's coming with the game at launch. That to me is one of the most ambitious and impressive crossovers or compilations, whatever you want to call it, that I've seen in not only just the Battlefield side of things, but like in gaming as a whole. We don't see many games offering their entire catalog almost of content, whether at launch or coming throughout that live service model, which I imagine more is going to be added to this portal here to span even more Battlefield games. We don't see much of that happening anywhere in the gaming sphere, so that is insanely cool to me. I think this is going to be the first in a long line of steps that hopefully warrants some action from Call of Duty, as competition can absolutely blow by them in various areas. I think that pending the success of this, we'll see something very similar in the next few years here for Call of Duty, especially if we end up seeing COD switch up to one singular engine in that Modern Warfare 2019 engine that's rumored. I mean, we have Vanguard up on deck, rumored to be running on MW 2019. We have, after that, what is presumed to be Modern Warfare 2, a sequel to 2019's Modern Warfare, and then whatever Treyarch has up on deck likely could make that switch as well. So you could truly make one giant experience here like this. But I think that, again, pending that success, we may see it. But with finally a game with a worthy MP experience potentially on the horizon, a new sandbox mode essentially combining years and years of Battlefield content, and Hazard Zone coming up here, the rumored Battle Royale coming sometime next year, I think this truly has potential to challenge Call of Duty this next year and beyond. And I honestly want that. Competition is good for all involved, and I can confidently say that some of my best years in my gaming life were when those big three were all fighting for dominance over each other. Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, something we haven't seen since 2012 to 2014 or around that time frame, and guess what? It's all happening again this year. Halo's MP releasing free-to-play, Battlefield back to form with a BR on the way post-launch, and Call of Duty releasing a new experience and rumored new Warzone map. Hopefully this is good for everybody, and hopefully this challenges some healthy competition and makes the experience for the player the best it can possibly be. But hey, I mean, if you're still here, we're wrapping it up. Genuine question, how would you feel about Battlefield 2042 content here on the channel come its launch? I'd be lying if I'd said that I wasn't envious of creators who aren't worried about that risk of drop-off in video performance going from one game to the next, especially as someone who's predominantly covered one franchise on the channel for years and years. I'm thoroughly interested in Battlefield for the first time in years again, since basically Battlefield 4, I think, was the last time that I really gave a hoot about the game, and especially the last time I kept up with it. But whether it be fatigue with COD, them finally kind of coming back to form, or whatever it is, I am genuinely interested with what is on the horizon here at this. Whether or not I get hurt as a fan and player, well, I guess that's something only time will tell. It's happened beforehand, but for the time being, I'd love to make some content on Battlefield. So let me know your thoughts down below on if you'd like to see that, but that's where we're gonna wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts on this week's update here for Call of Duty, what you think about Battlefield 2042, whatever the case may be. Let me know your thoughts, but hopefully enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Warzone, Modern Warfare, Cold War, anything COD related, and potentially anything 2042 for Battlefield here on the channel as well. If you're interested, hit that subscribe button. If you also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Probably live on both those. So if you guys are struck up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.